All right, peeps, welcome in. My guy Adam Sager, I'm Sean Salisbury. It's Unpaved. Triple E, Laura also. Great team and grateful to be a part of it. So before we get started, because I want to do hardcore sports today and have some laughs, but something that's still not funny, but it's the last part of my crawl that I want to talk about this, all the stuff involved with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And it's been bothersome to me because, you get people who contact you and you just read it, and it's been maddening, as we've talked about. I don't want to belabor the point. And you can get as mad or as happy as you want. I don't care what the response is. I really don't. But I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking, you're asking that the reason Charlie Hurt, he's on Fox, Charlie Kirk, that the people that were celebrating his death and celebrating that he was killed, because of things he said. And then they're turning right around, are radical liberals, and saying, you can't fire me for things I said, right, but you can kill somebody for things they said. That's one of the maddening things. The second part of this is the very party that invented cancel culture that's getting canceled is with the violence. There's violence everywhere. But when somebody that a liberal, a radical liberal, doesn't want you to harm or get shot or gets hurt, that we've seen, that if the roles were reversed, it's a human life regardless, and that should not happen. It just shouldn't, for your opinion. But let's just say for a second, as it's happened, when somebody that's on their side, and everybody should be on somebody's sides when it comes to death, the innocent people getting killed. I don't care what age, kids, adults, women, black, white, Mormon, Protestant, it doesn't matter. Is that I haven't seen one conservative. I haven't seen one building burn. I haven't seen, after what's happened to Charlie Kirk, I haven't seen one Molotov cocktail hit a car. I haven't seen one police officer get jumped or shot because of this.
Right.
I haven't seen 5 people in the streets kicking somebody in the rib cage and videoing it. I haven't seen us turn over cop cars. I haven't seen the military that goes in there to fix things. I haven't seen them go in. I'm talking about because of this, go in. I haven't seen red states have to call for alert because, man, you're going to start lighting on fire and looting the very buildings of the people that work in your same community and then ask people to pay for it after you fucked it up. I haven't seen any of that. What I've seen is, can you pray and go to vigils? Now, there's stuff online that people say, well, I've said that. But what I'm saying is that the very radical liberals who call others a violent group of people, not one time have I seen. Now, maybe I'm missing something, Segs, in your city, in my city, but I have yet to see anybody call for red states or on alert because they are going to tear buildings down, light a community on fire, and kill their own. I haven't seen that. Kill their own in their community. I'm talking about and go in and steal from the very business that you bought soda from, or a 6-pack of beer the day before, or a computer, or a lawnmower. Yet, just pray and we're not beating people up in the streets, not running up and down the streets, wrecking somebody's vigil or somebody who's got the crosses and pictures sitting there, and you're just going to stamp on it because you disagreed with Charlie. At no time have I ever seen, since Charlie Kirk, violence ensue. And if you're going to tell me that you can't be canceled when you invented cancel culture, and why aren't conservatives worried about cancel culture anymore? Because they've been through it and got kicked in the teeth a million times. So now it's reversed because they're holding receipts on you for cheering an innocent man's death and asking for people to kill the wife and the kids as well. And no, man, I can't be canceled. What happened to free speech? Yet you're encouraging the fact that a guy got killed for free speech, and that's supposed to be okay. I don't get it. But one thing I haven't seen is violence and the call for protection because of violence in the streets after. If the role was reversed, and we've seen it reversed, somebody getting killed that should not have been killed, goes both ways, no doubt, innocent. And yet I don't see one person tearing down. I called my kids wherever they are. I haven't seen. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to find the violence in you tearing down buildings and lighting people on fire and lighting businesses on fire because of your against what somebody did to a person. I have not seen any of that on this side.
The only violence you see right now is at these prayer vigils where liberals are coming to try and, like you said, tear up the vigils,
to disrupt it,
fights with the people, to disrupt it, to cause chaos at that. Because
have you seen anybody throw red paint on red paint on somebody who disagrees? Or
no,
even
because
listen, if you disagree with Charlie,
we know because all the news stations would show us, because
there's no question
in this time.
And hell,
where
at times
all the
try
news
to
stations
give you fake news to show
lean. It. Yes.
So I just stays with that. I haven't seen that. Now listen, if a liberal that disagrees or a conservative disagrees, hell, there's conservatives that didn't stand fully in line with what Charlie Kirk said.
Right.
Just like I don't stand in full line with what the President of the United States says all the time either. So the liberals or conservatives that disagree with him, listen, that didn't stand for what Charlie Kirk stood for, that's okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, that's called banter and dialogue, that it's okay. We have those conversations with our own damn family. Right. That's called life. Right. But what isn't okay is to cheer it on and then say you shouldn't get canceled. And you're asking for the kids. Why not kill them all? They're part of the family. I've seen this. Kill them all.
Yeah.
Kill anybody affiliated with the family because it's DNA. And yet you get canceled and you're whining and crying, and we're supposed to feel sorry for you because your husband's business or your business, you got fired. Yet you're cheering on and saying Charlie Kirk was a guy who preached something you didn't like, and yet he's allowed to get killed for it, but you're not allowed to get canceled for yours. And you're talking to me about free speech? Stave, the conversation's over. It ends there. And I don't see the same violence in the street. I don't leave my house in Texas thinking, you know what? Man, I can't wait to these people. I'm going to go throw I don't see anybody driving down the street that there. I see people with vigils and signs. I don't see anybody. I haven't seen a burning building yet, Segs, in the last few days that was started by somebody that thought the same as Charlie Kirk. And I didn't see any of that when they felt different about somebody on the other side who an innocent life lost. An innocent life's an innocent life. And maybe somebody will wake up and realize cheering for it gets you in trouble. Your free speech ends when you sign a contract with a company or you're working under somebody's umbrella. And you can't ask for somebody to be killed because of free speech and cheer it on and then turn around and whine and bitch and moan like a little biznatch because you lost your job because you encouraged them to kill the kids too. What? So save whether you think radical liberals are violent, but save that who the violent side is. Okay. No buildings were burned by a conservative I know when it happened to the other side in a horrific way, and it should never happen to either side. Yeah. Dialogue's okay. Political assassination, political violence is never okay. Good banter is always okay, and we should encourage it every friggin' day. Yep. Not this kind of banter and not that kind of violence. So I just want to get off my chest because I'm fascinated by the thought of some. 4 years ago, you could speak out of one side of your mouth. Now you say in the other side, you don't get to do both. Well, you can, but you see the things that are going on.
Yeah. It's I'm in Illinois, and I have to listen to that dumbass governor of ours speak way too often. And talk about talking out of both sides of your mouth. Yeah, that large fella does it a lot.
Yeah, you know how Charlie Brown's school teachers want. Yeah. When that dude opens his mouth, he opens his mouth and a lot of things go in it. But what comes out of it? Garbage in, garbage out. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. He's a rare one, that's for damn sure. But to sports we go, Segs, and I want to start with this Brady topic. We'll get to Monday Night Football.
That's where I had started.
And I know you got it. You got it. I know we got a lot of topics, but and I know so that's where you want to go too. Now listen, I got a real problem. I know Brady's all the broadcasters I can go through it have named are pretty, that broadcasting. What's etiquette, the protocol, the character that you have when you're broadcasting games. And if somebody tells you information, you're not giving up your sources. You're not going to give away your game plan to somebody else. All that is true and should be. And I'm Tom Brady, I'm sure, is filled with all kinds of character and would do it the right way. And I don't care if Tom Brady ever broadcast a Michigan game, Segs. If I were to broadcast a USC game, guess what? I'm no longer at USC anymore. I'm a Trojan fan, but I'm not the insight where I'm a current player and going to give you information, but I happen to double dip it's like, if you're coaching one, you're not going to get a guest to give you certain thing if you're coaching, and then you're a broadcaster. No. There's a conflict of interest here.
Yeah.
With Tom Brady as a national broadcaster on Fox, this is something that was brought up last year because of the rules of the NFL not going to meetings. I got a real problem. What information would you even share? If you're the Chicago Bears or somebody playing on a national game against the Raiders, he's too involved. He's a current owner and a significant one. You saw him in the booth with his headset on last night, which is fine. Yep. He's an owner. He wasn't broadcasting the game. But I have a major issue because Segs, I wouldn't give him as much character as Tom may have and all that. If you're broadcasting the national game, you have to take him off the game if the Raiders are involved. You can't do it. Because there is a conflict of interest, and you cannot. And the truth is, you're not getting information from the other side at all to help you. And it's because why? I'm not giving Tom as much. Hey, Tom, I'd even laugh, say, "Man, you're here, dude, but you ain't getting 1 ounce of information out of me." Because I'm a current owner, and I'm sitting in the box. Hey, man, it's 3rd and 7. Here's what they do, and the guy said, "Here's what they're going to do." Play 2-man, okay? Because I know it. And you just can't do it. So I would give him all information that wasn't true. And then all of a sudden he's up there. It's like, well, that's not what they told me. Because I can't tell you, nor would I. Hell, we're so paranoid. He played for a coach that was as paranoid as anybody in the world about other people eyeballing his thing. Time. For forever. Every single day you wondered, man, what advantage, aside from being the best coach in the world when he was with New England, Bill Belichick, but also, well, what else does he have in mind that Bill knows how to fix, Bill's great. He does what everybody else did, but better at it, probably. But so Tom knows what that's about. He absolutely cannot broadcast the game. You take Greg Olsen, stick him back on the 1, and they flip-flop that week. That's just the way. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. I don't care how many Super Bowl rings. I know he's got a lot of character. I do. I've met him and interviewed him in person. Love him. And you know my affinity for him. He's the greatest quarterback football player ever, best mechanics ever. And he's learning in the broadcast business. You can't put him on it. You just can't. You absolutely cannot put him. Matter of fact, for that day, now Kevin Burkhardt may not want to do it because but on that day, maybe Burkhardt and Brady become the number 2 team, and Joe Davis and Greg Olsen, even though Greg's worked with Kevin, that's just the one sacrifice or two you're going to make because you're calling the game. I don't care. I wouldn't care if Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Moses himself walked down and boom, and decided to biblically sit in the booth and say, well, I want to talk to the coaches before the game. No, I got to take you off the broadcast. Well, you can't. Well, guess what? I am. You just can't do it because he's too engaged, too involved, and too closely removed. Brady knows more than the quarterback's playing in the game about the game. Right. Hell, if he physically could still do it, I got news for you. He's a step ahead of everybody else. Just like I wouldn't have put Elway broadcasting a Bronco game when he was the president. Just like I wouldn't have Howie Roseman if he was a broadcaster doing the Eagles game. Just wouldn't. And those are general managers, not owners. So Brady's coach, owner, too involved. You just can't do it. And for them to even consider it, you don't get the integrity of the game you're supposed to get. Because Tom, how can he be fair and critical? If he criticizes too much one of his players and they're young and sensitive, you know how that goes, Sigs. We see it all the time with Gen Z. Well, boy, he cussed out a guy because he knew a position. Well, you just can't. And plus, if you're Tom, you're going to protect your team. Who doesn't protect their own family? Just out of human nature. So in defense, I mean, I wouldn't put him in a situation to force him to do it. Well, he's got integrity. Of course he's got integrity, but I don't give a shit. It's a game that matters. There's gambling. Everything's too much involved, man. And if something goes too right, you know what we think? Oh, gosh dang, how'd he get in it? It's just the perception and the optics of it. You can't do it. Tom Brady cannot broadcast, and I love Tom. Can't broadcast the games, and you can't do it. Well, people say, well, Aikman broadcasts Cowboy games, and so does Romo. Guess what? Neither one of them are owners. If Aikman was an owner, I'd say no. Even though he's been removed from the game for a while, absolutely not. And even if you said, well, he'll sit out the meeting and Joe Buck will go in there, or he'll sit out the meeting, Kevin Burkhardt, they're still partners and they'll still share it because that's what partners and teammates and family does. So can't do it. And if they do it, it's a disservice in the NFL. The NFL should slap themselves and find themselves on the hand. With all the little quirks and gimmicks we got in pro sports, this is one that's hard and fast. No, you can't do it. You can't. You just absolutely okay. Should who else is a player owner in sports? Who do we got? I mean, I'm thinking in sports. I'm talking
because
about
it's always cross sports. That's why it's never really an issue. This is the first time we've really seen a guy like Tom
Magic's doing the Dodgers. Great.
Right.
You can't broadcast it, and especially basketball is every day, but in football in particular, it's not the crossover. You own a baseball, but you're involved in football. You just can't do it. Yeah. You just can't. It's too close, too much, and you're dealing with a guy who's smarter than the world when it comes to football, and Tom Brady. You can't do it, and it because it doesn't serve either side well. The side that you're going against, and even his Raider team's at a disadvantage because of he wouldn't. You're going to broadcast that game different.
Yeah.
Than you are because they're your guys. Are you going to be as critical? I mean, maybe even more critical of your kids' sakes. We all do that, but to the point of, man, leave the kid alone because you're trying to prove to everybody that I'm going to be critical against the Raiders when it may not be warranted. You just can't do it. Got to take him off the broadcast anytime Raiders are in a national game and Fox is involved.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, it just can't happen. He can't be an owner and a broadcaster inside that same sport.
What's the difference in being a coach and broadcast? If he was coaching for them as a consultant, then turn around and broadcast the game.
And especially because, and why this has become such a big deal is, I believe it was Louis Riddick in the Monday night game last night said that he meets with Chip Kelly 3+ times a week to talk about the upcoming game and what he thinks. You know, Chip Kelly's bouncing questions off him. Tom's asking Chip Kelly questions about what they're going to do, what he's thinking about this or that. And then to have now Tom's calling the Bears Cowboys game this Sunday, and then they play the Raiders the following Sunday, and the Bears do what that is. And it's just like nobody in the NFL offices in New York City can think that's a good idea. And if they do, they need to come out and tell us why. I mean, they're going to get torched because there's nothing they can say that says, oh, well, this is why it's okay. No, there's too much to lose, because what does Tom Brady gain by the Raiders being good and winning games? Money. Isn't that why you're an owner? Because you want to make money?
You didn't get it. And the safest investment in the history right now is being an NFL owner.
Yeah.
You could go 0-17, 5 straight years, and your value will increase as an NFL owner. I'm just telling you. There is absolutely no friggin' doubt. Segs about Texas Spurs, right, too. RG3 going into a Baylor game and just hating on Baylor University QB the whole time. Here's what happens with that, too. And having done college games, Segs, I didn't do an SC game, but I did, big games all over, from Peyton Manning and Eli's games. Yeah. I mean, all over the place. What happens is, like I said about if you're broadcasting about your own kid, what happens is you're so cognizant of the optics of it that you over criticize. Yeah. Just like, because you want it. Like if I was doing an SC game, I'll be honest with you. If I was doing an SC game now, I would be, because I don't want people to say, oh, he's playing favorites. What a homer against this team. Right. I'd be fair, but I would err on the side of, you know what? Their defense isn't playing well this game. Boom. I'd be overly critical. And I think that's human nature. I try to guard against it. But if you go too far, you can't win, is my point.
You can't win.
The broadcaster can't win. The team can't win. Brady can't win. And going back to Chip Kelly, and you think about this, Segs. Chip Kelly, while I'm sure Tom's asking him questions about certain things, RPO and how to attack spread offense, I got news for you. Those 3 days, Brady is still so freshly removed. He's familiar with coordinators, and he'll tell you that one of the greatest things about why he was so successful is ability to understand pre-snap stuff. Listen, Vic Fangio hasn't changed how he's doing things. Different personnel, he's doing what he does. Spagnuolo. How many times do you think Brady's faced Spagnuolo? Well, they ruined an undefeated season for him. He knows when the Chiefs are in a game what Spag's going to do. Raiders, and they play him twice. My point is, so you just can't. And for you want to do the right thing, integrity wise. You say, listen, and Tom agrees with it. I mean, this is what he'd have to. They're going to flip flop. We're doing the crossover. Yeah. And if you want to be with the comfort of your partner, they get the backup game. And like I said, and Davis and Greg Olsen, you're not losing much. Greg Olsen's pretty damn good, but you just can't for both teams and for the broadcaster. And you put Burkhart in a problem because when he tees you up about certain cues of the game, oh, that's right, Tom, you couldn't talk to them, or you didn't, or you did. Give us some inside information. Right then and there, the listening audience is like, oh, so that's where we are. Yeah. And anytime they're in a perfect position, you know what everybody's going to say? Raiders already knew.
Yep.
Already knew. Whether they did or didn't, you just can't do it. Got to move on.
That's why it can't be, in my opinion, it can't be you change games. It has to be Tom cannot broadcast or he cannot own. It can't be both. It's got to be one or the other. And if
the Raiders come up, he cannot do that game. He just can't.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm one that I just don't think he should even be in the booth anymore.
I think a lot of people feel the way you do, Segs. As long as you're an owner, either give up one and put your 10 or 20% aside, and you get to buy it back when you come in. It's kind of in escrow kind of. I mean, I don't know if they're allowed to do that, but when it comes to the NFL, but put it in escrow. You're fully dedicated to this, but still, that part of knowing you're going to be that because there's a spot waiting for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a spot waiting for you in the Ryder Cup, no matter how you play, Segs. Well, great. That's cool. I get to go play in the Ryder Cup even if I shoot 74 400 days in a row, right?
And even as you said that about him, like, oh, put it in escrow and he can come back when he's done broadcasting, it still just leans to the fact that he's a Raider. And you know what I mean? So it's just like Fox needs to come out and just be like, and the NFL, they need to come out and be like, we tried. It hasn't worked in terms of this situation we're in right now. He has to leave Fox. I'm sorry, you lose your $20 million or whatever you're making a year, but you're an NFL owner. You're okay. You're Tom Brady. You're okay.
Didn't he sign a 20? I mean, the rumor was it was a 10-year, $350 million or $375 million
like
deal.
That, yeah.
When he signed, I don't know how true that is. Maybe that's with all the other stuff he's doing. I don't know. Regardless, it's a significant amount of money.
Yes.
But see, I could make the argument now that if you're an owner, Brady's more Raider than Patriot, Segs, even with all those 6 Super Bowl rings with New England. He's more Raider than he is Patriot. Not just because the ownership. I'm talking about that deep in your soul right now. Why? Because now this is your team that you get to run. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure from Tom, I'll bet you Tom would like a bigger percentage that he already has. Who wouldn't? Yeah. You think that investment's going? It's Oakland to Vegas. It's Vegas. I got news for you.
The new stadium.
That investment ain't going down. So regardless of what I'll even take the consolation price of just not doing Raider games for now, Segs. I will. I'll take that consolation price. But I think a lot of people feel like you do, that as long as you're an owner, that you can't then go broadcast Fox, be on Fox's college football games or something.
Yeah,
I get right
exactly.
there.
Go be
Join Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson in the booth and go do. And if you get Michigan, you get Michigan. That's okay. That's no problem. You're not the AD there.
Yeah,
right.
We see that all the time in college of ex players.
Yeah, it's a different deal.
Yeah, it's just not the same thing.
Although I would still try not to put, if I can help it, unless the draw, Michigan's a big draw, and you got your number one team, you're going to get it. But you'd say, well, I'd prefer not to. And I'm sure as a player, I'd rather be a fan of my Trojans than have to say, oh, I got to broadcast against them. My quarterback sucks today. Right. I know what that, So, but it's going to be a point of contention until it's addressed one way or the other. There's no doubt.
Yeah. It's just when you see him up in the booth, and then you're thinking like, okay, he's talking to Chip Kelly multiple times.
He's still a coach. He's an owner, but he's coaching.
He's calling the Cowboys-Bears games. Oh, and then his Raiders that he partially owns is playing the Bears the very next week. It's just nothing sits right, and it's not just because it's my Bears. You see it all over the place.
It doesn't matter who it is, right?
And it just seemed like, because we've never seen him in the coaching box, we've never seen him up there with the Raiders as an owner, and then all of a sudden he pops up last night, and then it just exploded. I mean, every NFL insider, analyst, everybody was just saying how this is wrong. And if that tweet that Triple E put up about where the Daily Loud said that he might walk away from that deal, I think he needs to. I personally think he needs to.
Well, what would you walk away from? Broadcasting or ownership?
Oh, broadcasting.
In a second. The broadcasting job will always be there if you want. There's another job. The truth is, and Tom's a big businessman, if you had to give up one or the other, you can keep the broadcasting job. I'm ownership all day, every day.
Yes, and I don't know the how the family tree of the Davis family runs there. Yeah. Tom may be next up to own the Raiders as the majority owner if Mark were to ever.
Well, guess who's going to make that deal in a trust and will? It's going to be the Raiders.
Exactly.
And it's going to be Mark Davis to decide. Yes. Okay, when you decide, are we selling it? Is there somebody else? Is there a kid? Is it right. His son? Is it a grandkid? Or is it, you know what? Grandkid, yes, but I'll sell 40% of it to Tom.
Right.
That he's still not the majority owner, but or whatever. Yeah. Hell, you're positioning yourself. You're not positioning yourself to get some. You're positioning yourself to get most or all if you possibly can.
Right.
If you're in that financial position, which Brady may not be worth $15 billion or $12 billion, whatever their valuation is right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Brady knows the people that can raise it. I'll promise you that.
He can get
that I can guarantee you.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes. Would you rather have the $375 million contract or the 50% of the $12 billion organization?
And having to travel every single, I don't care if it's a private plane or not, at least I get to
establish
the groundwork. Yes. You're damn right.
As an owner,
you got to prep for all of them.
Yeah. As an owner, you get to do all that on your own time as you see fit because you are the owner of the team.
That's exactly right. And you get to make decisions on who you hire, which is a good thing as well.
I know one thing, Sean, last night, Tom Brady did not help your Raiders because that offense looked like garbage. Geno Smith looked like garbage. Ashton Jeanty couldn't run the ball. Jesse Minter has an absolute monster of a defense there in LA with the Chargers. And I did see this, and it made me laugh as a Michigan fan. Last year, where was Chip Kelly? He was at Ohio State. Yeah, he won a national championship. Good for him. When he played Wink Martindale in Michigan, they lost 13-10. What does Jesse Minter run? Wink Martindale's defense. 20-9 when he faces Jesse Minter last night. So Chip Kelly has a problem with that. Hopefully they don't play Seattle anytime soon with Mike McDonald up there. Or the Ravens with Zach Orr that runs pretty much the same defense. Hopefully they don't see those guys because Chip Kelly doesn't know how to beat them, and he couldn't do anything right against that Charger defense last night.
You are so correct. And Texans per 80, you miss Keith Jackson on Saturdays. We all do.
Everybody.
Nobody's voice will ever outdo the Keith Jackson. He is college football. When I think
of football, that's the first voice that pops in my head.
Vin Scully is to college football Keith Jackson is to college football what Vin Scully was to baseball and to the Dodgers to me. There'll never be anybody doing it better than Keith Jackson.
See, I think of Keith Jackson even over like John Madden, as a football voice. Like I would say that's the number one voice for NFL that is ingrained in my head is John Madden.
And Pat Summerall together, no doubt. Agreed. Yes. But Keith Jackson is, and it's no disrespect to we got some great ones.
Oh, there's also
the bottom line is everybody's carrying the clubs of Keith Jackson when it comes to who's the best college football voice and who is the voice of college football. Segs, last night's game, is it, I was thinking, was it more on the Raiders or is it more on the Chargers? I'm going to tell you what you saw last night. There better be some offenses to get used to it because while the Raiders did not play well, the San Diego Chargers, I call them because that was I actually picked up a check from them for a while. The LA Chargers, they made it. They're the reason. So it's while the Raiders struggled and had their day, if you're not putting the Chargers just from what you've seen this year, first 2 weeks, in Buffalo and Green Bay's category at the top, those teams like that, and Philly, then I think you're making a mistake, because right now, what's to tell you that the Chargers don't belong? If it's not the first 2 or 3, they're in whatever the 3 or 4 next teams are in the category. They dismantled them in the run game, far more physical. Their technique and the way they played the pass last night and pressured and forced interceptions. Geno Smith's a good player. They made him look subpar, average at best, and below average last night. And the Chargers are going to do what they do. Here's why they travel. I always talk about defense traveling. Here's why the Chargers offensively are going to travel, Segs. How's he built it? There's no mistake up front. You don't have, I've told you this, you better have defensive front 7, and you sure as hell better have the 5 dudes up front. He has built that, and he has never wavered at any point in his career to be dominant. Trenches are who Jim Harbaugh is. Jim Harbaugh played quarterback his whole career. Jim Harbaugh should have, if you'd have added 75 pounds to him and about 2 or 3 inches, Jim Harbaugh really would have played the position he was born to play, although he was a hell of a quarterback, and that's offensive line. That's one. Is they are built because they're going to commit to the run and never waver. They're going to commit to defense and getting after your ass, whether it's zone or pressure. And they've got a quarterback, whether there's still people that do not believe in it. The things that travel are defense, good special teams, and a quarterback with a run. You got to have the quarterback. That's the other. And the commitment to the run game. 12-4 were teams last night that were committed, that won the run game, that they ran it more. Segs, I told you that stat yesterday. 12-4 were the teams that ran it more than they threw it, attempts-wise, not yards, attempts. And 2 of those games were settled. There were 1 run difference that the team that won had 1 less rushing attempt. So basically 14-2. So that stat is Jim Harbaugh lives it. They want to run it. And even in games they don't, you have the capability at quarterback, which some don't, Segs, who preach defense and run game. They don't have the quarterback who has the ability not only to beat you with his legs, which he's proven all the way back to the Rose Bowl, but with his arm. And I can see his confidence, regardless of the stats, growing. He can make every throw. They've got every element it takes to win a championship. I don't know if it's premature or not, but Harbaugh has not, and everywhere he goes, Segs, they fix it quick. They get physical quick. And the Chargers are no different. So I look more at the domination of the Chargers, that they're going to do that to a lot of teams, and they've done it 2 weeks in a row. They made the Raiders look poor. They're going to make a lot of teams look bad this year. The Chargers deserve a lot of credit for their first 2 weeks.
Yeah, one thing we'll have to really monitor is Khalil Mack's injury.
For sure.
Came out of the game last night, see how bad that is. Early indication it's not bad. He may miss a game or 2, but nothing significant in terms of
they may be good enough right now the way they're playing to sustain 2 games without him.
Yes.
I mean, as important as he is, Harbaugh's got that thing going on, man. It's fun to watch.
When it all comes down to it, just like his time at Michigan, Jesse Minter and Mike McDonald and now Wink Martindale, it's all about physicality. Yeah, you can have great football players, but if you have physical football players, they can run that defense and do really, really well with it.
No doubt.
They don't even got to be top tier players to run that defense. We've seen it time and time again. And then
he knows how to plug them into a scheme that makes it fit for their talent, which is a great thing. We have too many coordinators that want to force somebody who is a distance runner to be a sprinter. You get my point in track. Right. If you're great at 800 meters, but you're not a sprinter, I ain't going to make you sprint. You're not on my 4x100 meter relay team. Same thing here. Well, if somebody makes be extreme, I've seen plenty of guys in football, Segs, I played with them, that were uniquely talented, but put in the wrong position scheme-wise, and they didn't excel. I've seen the opposite. I've seen a guy drafted in the 5th or 6th round, and a guy at his same position was drafted ahead of him, and the guy 4 rounds later was better than him because the system fit him. And what the coach did was adjust the system to fit the player, not force 50 players or whatever it is to adjust to your system, even though that may not be a strength. It would be like telling Tom Brady, go run RPO, dude. Well, that's not what I do. I'm not good at it. Okay, let's stay away from what you don't do well, and let's do what you do well. And that is that's what the Chargers and guys like Wink Martindale and Mike McDonald, and you mentioned Jesse Minter, that's what they do. Yes. And the good ones on both sides of the ball put their system and their touch to it, but are willing to make adjustments a la Andy Reid when he got Mahomes to change what you do and cater to the skill set you have. That's real coaching.
I think one thing that also makes this team even more dangerous as we get through the season is Amarian Hampton just getting his feet as an NFL running back, because he is a very, very good player coming out of the draft this year. He can make a real difference in the run and in the pass. And as he gets his feet under him more and more, and they can start ramping those carries up a little bit more, getting him more catches, getting him in space, they become even more dangerous of a team.
And Najee Harris is going to eventually be a major thumper there. He just is.
Those two combined.
That's why they went and got it. That's a really good twosome. It really is.
Yes. The other game last night saw, you're down in Houston, the Texans lose last second to the Bucs. Baker Mayfield played out of his mind. Rachaad White scores with about 9 seconds left.
Got down to 6 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, 6 seconds.
They snapped it with 9 seconds, yes.
Yes. So he scored from a yard out as the Bucs rallied after a nice drive by the Texans to take the lead. The Bucs come right back, get the ball, and they take it right down the field. And Baker Mayfield, you know me, I was as hard on Baker as anybody in all of football. I despised Baker Mayfield early on in his NFL career. I loved him at Oklahoma. I loved the type of player he was. He came to the NFL, and it felt like he tried to be something different, and that wasn't him. Now he's found a place in Tampa that has allowed him to play like Baker Mayfield, and we're seeing it. He's been awesome for the last two plus years, and it seems like he's getting better and better and better, and that's what's scary.
He's playing at peace. It's weird, and I know he's mentioned that going to church and finding the Lord has helped his marriage and helped his performance and confidence, and I think there's something to that, because when you find peace, you clear the clutter, as I'm always talking about on this show. When people ask me about quarterback, remove clutter, gives you a chance. Well, say look, the Texans first, then we'll get to the good, which is Baker Mayfield. The Texans, this is a team that it's Groundhog Day with them. Saying they look exactly the same as they did last year. The offensive line does not move any pile. I saw one where they moved the pile, and that was Chubb's 25-yard touchdown run, and it was executed to perfection. They don't repeat it. It's like a golf swing that you can't repeat. Right. They can't repeat it. So, and the moving around. So the inconsistency there, they're not a physical team on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they're extremely physical and really good. The problem is last night, they got challenged at the line of scrimmage, and a Tampa Bay offense, it's not the Eagles front of guys. It's not Detroit's offensive line. And I'm telling you what, Irvin and White run hard, dude. They are coming up to greet your ass. Yep. And they sent a loud message last night to a really good front seven and a really good defense in the Texans. Dude, they came in there, goes back to my physical thing. Until you can handle physical with physical, the team that is committed to it and says, this is who we are regardless. Yep. And that's who Tampa was last night. And they took care of it. And then this has been an undisciplined team penalty-wise, offense and defense for the last couple of years, Sigs. I love DeMeco Ryans, but it's starting to get to a point where if they're allowing this on the practice field, you're going to have to fix this, because this team's discipline or lack thereof, penalty-wise, and just some silly plays, puts them in a bind. Christian Harris makes a great play. Tackles the guy, grabs his face mask, bam. Give him, but now they move out from the back. Now you can flip the field on a punt if necessary. Discipline to stay in your lane on the pass rush. Was it Toa or was it Toa who overran on the fourth down play?
Yes.
Baker Mayfield steps up and runs for the first down on 4th and 7 or 8 or whatever it was. First down. They and Mayfield playing a little bit hobbled, but you saw I'm going to tell you right now, I saw that Tampa was physically tougher and mentally tougher than the Texans were last night. I think that Stroud's games regress, Segs. And I still hold him, and I think he's a phenomenal talent and a really good player. But you can tell the collateral damage of the hits he took last year and what's gone on. He's a little bit frenetic and frantic in the pocket with his feet on clean pockets, and he's missing dig routes. And he was the best intermediate thrower I saw in the league his rookie year. But he's missing throws that are just normal for him to make that he would have made with one eye closed. It
looks like Caleb Williams. Same
thing.
Like those throws that Caleb was missing week 1, that was CJ Stroud last night.
And his misses as a rookie were small.
Yes.
He missed, and it was like still in catch radius. His misses now are aim small, miss big, but he's not aiming small because he's missing big, which tells me there's either a belief or a confidence. There's this I don't know, Sigs. I feel anxious now watching him. I'm like, man, I'm feeling his anxiety is in the pocket because as a rookie, I felt like Sigs, what he's done, and it goes back to when I told you about putting, the overload, right? I feel like as a rookie, he just kind of said, man, what I got to lose? I'm going to let it rip, and they let it play. And then all of a sudden, he started to get a little technical, and the offensive line's not as good, so I got to do more. I got to be a bigger hero. And now just the simple slant route thrown behind, a dig route where there's 15 yards of space and you're bouncing it to him. But this was a trend last year, and it's gotten worse. Now, people, well, he's a bust. But no, stop, folks. It's another new coordinator, which leads me to the fact that I rarely see you go from a rookie coordinator and Bobby Slowick to a rookie coordinator. They're from the same tree family, remember now.
Yeah.
Rams, 49ers, took the same guy. Passing game coordinator in San Francisco, Bobby Slowick, bam. Where D'Amico was as a coordinator and a position coach. Nick Caley, Nick Caserio's connection to New England, there a long time. Held him in high regard, and I do too, but he's still a rookie play caller. X's and O's and play calling are two different things. Then he goes to the Rams and is the passing game coordinator, tight ends coach. Comes here, he's 2 games in. You got to treat him like you would a rookie player. Regardless of the X's and O's, there's a rhythm to be found. And the Texans play wonderful special teams, and their defense is now. I'm not worried about the defense getting it fixed, Eggs. Even though they were gashed last night, they will fix it as long as they quit killing themselves with penalties on both sides of the ball that extend drives. And Baker Mayfield has proven over the last 2 years, sans Josh Allen's performance and some Lamar Jackson, that he's in the top 3 as best players at the position the last 2 years. He's just been that guy.
Yeah.
Because he's been a bit of a journeyman for a minute to 2 or 3 different teams, we've all of a sudden felt like, oh, he's not that. Baker Mayfield is not just a guy. He's that guy. He's great under pressure. When it comes to the game of pressure, of getting drives to go win, he's great leader. He can beat you. He's got so many McMahon traits that I loved with Jim Siggs. He really does. Baker's more talented at this stage of his career because Jim was beat up and surgery. Right. But Jim willed his team, and the players loved him and responded to him and respected him. Baker Mayfield plays like that. And he's confident. There's brash. He'll fight you. Jim was brash and would fight you. And have you ever noticed that every play he makes is a big play? 3rd down and 4, he gets 5. 4th down and 9, he gets 12. There's just something about him. Stop with anybody who's on the Baker Mayfield. You're still thinking about him as a journeyman or playing for 3 different teams. You are absolutely incorrect. What that's done is drive his growth into being, instead of pouting about it and saying, I'm better than this, he's back to his walk-on mentality. When he was at his best playing in doggone, not the frat league, but intramural football while he was sitting out at Oklahoma, then goes and wins a Heisman, and then comes into the NFL, walk on, had a good rookie year, then started to get all the pub, and it's like and you're right, Six, he changed. The approach felt like it wasn't all football. Yeah. And then when Cleveland let him go, and right now they're begging to have his ass back, I assure you. But you go and you learn along, what was it, Carolina and the Rams, then you get back to this, and it's like, no, we see something in the guy. And look how he's elevated his team. Even him, but his team rallies around him. I thought he was, even though the stats weren't gaudy yards-wise, I thought the timing of his playmaking ability was great. And then getting back to and I love Baker Mayfield. And the Texans, Sigs, they told you everything you needed to know about a rookie play caller and about their offense. Inside the 5-yard line, they're in a pistol lining up, and you got Nick Chubb, who's a fifth, and they're telling you all they need to know by dropping back and throwing it, and not. You knew that Tampa with 9 seconds to go was going to run it twice or lose, and the Texans have zero idea right now how to impose their will offensively on a physical team that's on deep. Oh, they can impose it on a finesse team like them, but offensively they are all finesse, and if finesse ain't working, and CJ's taking a little step back, enough. Absolutely enough. This team is an underachieving offense, and they have been for the better part of a year and 2-3 games.
Yeah, watching that inside the 5, the Texans there at the goal line. I mean, Nico Collins ran a tremendous route to get open. And I mean, CJ Stroud missed him by 3 yards. I mean, throwing it up the field, like he gave Nico Collins no chance to catch the one ball. And then I didn't like the fourth down call where he's sprinting, or CJ Stroud sprinting out to his left, and then he tries to hit Nico Collins. I think it was Nico in the back.
The ball landed 8 yards out of bounds.
Yeah, and it wasn't even close. So it's just, yeah, it's frustrating watching that team right now. And how hard is it for a quarterback, CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, some others, when you deal with so many hits, when you deal with getting sacked or having to move your feet so quickly once you drop back? How hard is that as a quarterback to kind of calm down? Even once, let's say you get an all-pro line, you have 5 all-pros in front of you, and you're getting 4 seconds to throw the ball. How hard is that to change your mindset the first, the second, the third game of that line to get yourself back right to where you can settle in the pocket and make the throws on timing?
Segs, I'm saying it's not a hot take, and I'm not being hyperbolic about this at all. You heard Aikman mention it. I've said it before. When you get to sit back in the pocket and give somebody 4.5 seconds to throw, which the norm is between 2.5 and 2.7, 2.75. If you're getting 2.75 in the pocket, you should probably be in the Pro Bowl. Make sense? Yeah. Right. So when you get it, and Aikman said it last night, if anybody listened closely, he said any quarterback in the league, given the time to sit back there and hold that football, will carve up a defense without pressure. And I'm telling you now, at my age, if you give me 4 seconds to throw the football, because I can still throw it, I just can't move it. You give me 4 seconds to sit there and not move, I'm gonna complete balls against you. Yeah, just like Elway. I mean, I'm not comparing myself to Elway, but really, in true sakes, I can take Josh McCown off the sidelines in Minnesota, and you give him that, Josh is going to go 15 to 20. I mean, it just is, right? Because by the time you figure it out mentally, which I think I have the game fairly closely, I don't want to say figured out, but I have a pretty good idea when this is this and fronts and coverages tied in, that the physical, I could make an outcut. If you're going to play 15 yards off and let me sit back there or a comeback, I'm going to hit the throw. So it's huge, Segs. And, while we criticize guys who have, regressed a little bit, the regression doesn't mean you're done. Regression just means you need to go back to the drawing board mechanically, or get your head back up, and we got to start teaching it back to the basic elements of 7th grade Swickley, Pennsylvania code, right? We got to go back to basics whenever in doubt. But let me just put it to you in simple layman's terms, Segs, which I know you know football terms, but kind of give you a blatant with a smile on my face. If I got you at the water cooler and you got your back turned to me and I hit you 20 times during our workday and you got to come in the next day, what's your first thing you're doing at the water cooler?
Watching your back. Your
head's on a swivel, right? Yep. It's just human nature. Right now, you may say it's not. You're walking to the water cooler, but you could bet your sweet ass you're waiting for the guy, so you could throw a forearm shiver to his throat. Right. So now just put that in football terms, and it goes on for a year. That even on 3 rhythm, 1, 2, 3, bang your foot and hit the speed out at 10 roll to 12, or 1, 2, 3, take a hitch from the gun, bam, pound to 18, back to 15, comeback, or 1, 2, 3 from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from under center and bang a bang post in rhythm. But the guys were beating you to the setup. What happens is the collateral damage is, okay, man, you're getting hits and the blitzes, and Segs, they're having a hard time picking up the simplest of blitzes. And they did last year. I mean, just a 3-man rush or show 5, drop 3, and you're rushing 4. It should be blocked. I got 5 and a chipper to block them, even if I'm not in max protection. So what happens is that goes on, and then all of a sudden, when it is clean, Segs, what happens? Late. Your head's on a swivel because you've been hit enough times. You're like, well, why should I trust it? The word is trust. And when Stroud is not trusting them, hasn't for over a year, I don't know how well they're practicing. So you go back, okay, he doesn't trust him. So even in a clean pocket, he feels rushed. And then when the clean pocket's there, when he shouldn't be rushed, he's throwing balls in places he shouldn't. And so what happens? Accuracy goes down. Now everybody's saying, well, it's not just the line. What's wrong with Stroud? I had a guy send me a couple messages. A couple guys send me messages today saying, dude, are we in problem? And one during the game last night, are we in trouble with him? I said, not yet. Slow down. But there are concerns, and there's a difference. Not losing your job, concerns, because and it's the collateral damage. So yes, that's the best. So you can get the description what I'm talking about. Eventually, human nature says, damn, I've been punched in the mouth enough times. And then at the time when somebody's coming up to hug you instead of punch you in the mouth, you're throwing it, and the guy says, damn, you dumbass, I'm just coming here to give you some dab. I'm not here to hit you. And so what do? You throw it prematurely, and boom, it's in somebody else's hands. And you saw, Segs, sometimes last night where it's like, dude, the blitz is coming. Put your foot in the ground. You're going to have to take the hit and hit that little sit-down route over the center for a 7-yard gain. And when you get zero coverage, you got to get it out on time. You can't hold the ball in zero. We just don't have enough to block them. So it's a combination of everything. And you can't keep this trend up and think that, the other team's just guessing right. Well, what if we did this? You can what if me to death. They've been in position to win in the fourth quarter 2 games, and they've lost 2. That tells me more about them, the inability to close it out when it matters. So there's some flaws, man. Just as good as they're playing, the Colts are bad as they're playing. The Colts are doing it on the other end. So you're seeing what a difference a confident quarterback that doesn't feel a little frantic in the pocket. And Baker's been through it. He went through it at times in Cleveland before they got – and now look at him. Secure, even though they don't have the best line, and they're running it, which takes pressure off him, and then he can impose his will. The better quarterback won last night, and Baker's played better the last 2 years than most in the league have.
How worried would you be if you're a Texans fan about how the Colts are playing? They're 2-0, you're 0-2. How worried would you be about that team in Indy?
If you get to 0-3, here's the one saving grace if you're a team. Now, you don't want – you know how I feel about September 6th. Right. I don't want to hear, win them all in December, because you'll still come up a game short. The AFC's pretty deep, and there's some good teams. Now, when I say pretty deep, I think when you say, who's top heavy, but you start to look around, Baltimore and Buffalo and the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to go away even though they've started. Right. The Broncos are going to be better than they have, although they're in danger of what the hell's going on with them. And then you take a look at depending on Cincinnati's stable, they're off to their start, and yet they haven't played great football yet, and they're without their guy. So you start to look. One team from that division is going to the playoffs, I think. And I know we're only 2 weeks in, but you get down 0-3 stakes. The overwhelming statistic is, especially when you lose, they've lost, is man. Dude, now you're in a chase mode, and you think the pressure's on you now. And if you're the Colts and you start out 0-3 now, Segs, you do get the leeway in week 16 of a loss to a division opponent. So I know that they still haven't played a division game, and that matters and win the division. I get all that. But they can't beat the Colts right now playing like they're playing offensively. No. And the way the Colts are slinging it, and the way Daniel Jones is killing you with his feet and arm. So I'm with you, Segs. It's dangerous. You're sitting 0-3 is dangerous real estate to be in if you think you're a playoff team. And I would have told you at the beginning of the year, I'd have bet a futures bet that the Texans win this division by 2 games, considering every team had a quarterback issue. Don't kid yourself. Jacksonville's got an issue because their inconsistency at quarterback has been the Dow Jones at its worst, up and down with a guy that's had talent, a rookie the other place and a journeyman the other place.
Yeah, if you that journeyman's playing like a starter week. Yeah, if you lose to Jacksonville
chase mode the whole time.
There's big problems in Houston.
Their ass is going to be puckered so tight, Segs, you're not going to be able to drive a nail with a sledgehammer into it. Right. I assure you.
Exactly. All right, talking about another quarterback. This story came out, I think it was yesterday, maybe Sunday night, from Adam Schefter, that the Baltimore Ravens, who we all know are set at quarterback with Lamar Jackson, the multiple-time MVP, is on his way to a third. The Baltimore Ravens were set to draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round before he was taken by the Cleveland Browns. Supposedly they reached out in some form to Sanders' camp, and basically Shedeur was like, no, I don't want to be Lamar's backup. Don't draft me. Do you, first of all, have a problem with the Ravens even reaching out to a 5th round pick to ask if you want to be drafted? And do you have a problem with Shedeur saying, thanks, but no thanks, I'm good. I'd rather go somewhere bad, which ended up being Cleveland, and now you're still the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart.
Segs, the first part, don't have a problem. It's natural, even in the 5th round. For a team, okay. I had, during my draft, even back then, I had teams contact me throughout, the Rams for one. If you're available here, we're going to take you, before they picked. So that's even, and it wasn't a 1st round pick because I was coming off a knee surgery, right? Yeah. Coach Robinson was now the head coach there, right? Who was my coach and recruited me in college. So, and I wasn't rehabbing. Well, guess what? The year they said they were going to draft me, guess what happened? They did enough evaluation, didn't think my knee was ready yet. They drafted, I think it was Stan Gelbaugh, the kid from Maryland, who was quarterback after Boomer Esiason, right? Stan, good player in college. He was brokenhearted because I'm like, what's going on here? But it happens. So they do contact you. And I do like when they contact you, Sigs, because you know what it's telling me? That the Baltimore Ravens, who have been phenomenal drafters with Ozzie and with their team, phenomenal organization, it tells me they're still engaged in the 5th round. It's not a throwaway bullshit pick if they're still contacting people. Now it's Dion, and it's his kid, so there's probably even a little more. But this happens all the time where guys get contacted 4th, 5th round and are going, hey, we're going to draft you if you're available 5 picks from now, or whenever it happened with Shedeur Sanders. The flip side is I've never heard of a 5th rounder telling a team, don't draft me, I don't want to go there. Now, I like the confidence that he's saying, I'm not going to go anywhere, I'm going to be a backup, because I got news for you. For the next 10 years, Shedeur wouldn't play, okay? Because Lamar Jackson, unless ain't going anywhere as we speak as a starter. So you would have been, I get that part. You're like, man, I'm never. That's like saying Buffalo's going to draft him. Well, good. You're going to be sitting for the next decade. You thought Jordan Love had to sit for a few years behind Rodgers. You're sitting for a lot longer there. So I get Shedeur Sanders saying, well, I want to go somewhere where I can play. It's awfully presumptuous and confident as a 5th rounder who thinks he's a 1st-round talent. At least Shedeur did. Nobody else did at the time. To say, no, don't draft me. I want to go somewhere else. Because he does in the short term, if he's any good, over the long term, has a much better shot at starting. And that's with a $230 million quarterback rehabbing an injury in Cleveland. Now, if it was me, I would have said, hell yeah, draft me. You go, you never know what's going to happen. I want to go to an organization that I think is a better organization than the one he's on. Just a hunch, okay?
I'll give that to you.
Not fans. The fan base in Cleveland, you know I love them. They're both good fans. It's the organization. Give me Baltimore all day and twice on Sunday when it comes to organization. So, but the fact that you literally were going to turn down one of the best, if not the best organization in football, year in and year out. Kansas City Chiefs involved, Philadelphia involved in that conversation too. Buffalo's damn good. And 49ers. And then say, Rams, I don't want to leave anybody out. We go on. And then turn around and say, nah, don't draft me. That's an awfully presumptuous, confident, should I say, I'm trying to be kind here, position. At that point in time, Segs, you're saying, I don't really give a rat's ass who drafts me. I want to get into camp and prove my worth, because if he does have success, guess where he's got a better chance to win right now? If he did get in and they needed him for 3 games, in Baltimore. So I give Shedeur credit for the confidence. I don't think I'd ever turn down anybody that told me, I wouldn't tell anybody if I'm getting drafted 5th round, don't draft me because you want to get drafted. And then finally, the organization reaching out, that's normal. But Shedeur's have enough trouble beating out Joe Flacco or Dylan Gabriel. Let's slow down on the Lamar Jackson deal. But I like the fact that Baltimore thought in the 5th round, which is a fair place to get him, and maybe even a few rounds earlier, but to give him the chance to develop. Whether he's going to get that in Cleveland or not, I don't know. But he could have developed, but he sure as hell wasn't going to get any snaps in Baltimore unless they're winning 44-10, which they do quite often.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, that was the other thing. And I had written down for yesterday's show, the Browns, we know the Browns defense is really good, but they held Derrick Henry to, I think it was 20-something yards. They held Lamar to, I think, 13 yards, and they did not rush the ball at all. Baltimore still put up 40, still won by multiple.
And you're right. Cleveland's defense is really freaking good. And
Lamar
didn't even have his best game. Lamar can play better than that.
Yes.
And what did he throw? 4 touchdowns in a game?
Yeah.
I mean, he can play. And Henry laid another ball on the ground that he recovered, but he doesn't lay it on the ground rarely ever. There's 2 fumbles in 2 weeks. So and I get a little worried that Cleveland, if Joe Flacco's not the quarterback with his veteran presence, I'd get a little worried that defense and offense are going to start to pit themselves against each other, saying, hey, you guys start pulling your weight, because even though we gave up 40, we're getting our ass handed to us here. We're playing our ass off. That's the strength of Cleveland's team when Teller and that group are playing better up, when they get their veterans playing football up front and their defense, their offense leaves something to be desired. And Joe's going to keep them in it, but I think they're going to have an opportunity to get to the point stakes where they just don't have enough bandwidth to expand their offense like they'd like to. but their best option is definitely right now Joe Flacco on that offense.
Yeah. We learned yesterday JJ McCarthy, high ankle sprain, is going to miss at least this week's game, probably maybe up to 4 weeks. So we went from a game with national champion quarterback versus national champion quarterback and McCarthy versus Burrow to now Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz this weekend. What is
advantage Browning, considering the play? Browning's got more work lately, and quite frankly, has been better as a backup than Carson Wentz has. Boy,
how hard is it for McCarthy? You miss your whole rookie season with the shoulder. Now you come back a game plus some in, high ankle sprain. You're out, for who knows how long.
And you're out after a game that's going to fester because you didn't play well in game 2.
Yes, exactly. Where fans and everybody's trying to spike the ball, saying, "See, he's not any good. He's not any good." And we told you it was all a fluke. And
I'm sure glad those fans know all that you're no good after 2 games. It's amazing how many people know so much. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, you gotta love those Ohio State fans who love to, even though CJ Stroud's 0-2, Justin Fields is 0-2, but hey, keep talking your shit, Ohio State fans. We just laugh now because Michigan fans 4 in a row. But how hard is it for JJ McCarthy?
But who's counting?
Who's counting? Right? Who's counting? 13-10 to a really shitty Michigan team last year. You still lost, but whatever. How hard is it for JJ McCarthy though to now miss this time after missing all of his rookie year, finally getting in? And even how hard is it for Kevin O'Connell to deal with that? Now you got a veteran in Carson Wentz, but it's a different skill set, and you're trying to build this thing with JJ McCarthy.
I think more than when if you're out for the season where tears enter your eyes again, you miss another season. Our guy Tank Dell here, when he missed the season before, and then that gruesome injury last year, it's like you see him weep. Of course, man, it's like another one. Hell, if you're Joe Burrow, you might have some tears in your eyes because it's like, how many times do I got to go through this? You can still be tough and be emotional. I think with JJ, it's more that pissed off, unfortunate. Oh my gosh! Again, the saving grace here says that he can stay engaged for the next week or 2. And he's not going to miss much, right? That he can. That he's going to be involved in game planning. Going to be, helmet on, listening to the play calls in practice like Manning does, and sit get your ass in the whirlpool, get your ass in the plunge pool, and do it. So he'll be engaged. Where it's not one of those where you're like, where you pout because you're out till next spring, right?
Right.
So at least it's something that he can stay in, probably in his mind saying, I ain't waiting 2 weeks. I'm going to take this thing up, get it around playing next week. So there's that grind that's part of it, that it doesn't sink in because it's not a long period of time.
Right.
But Kevin O'Connell's faced with it because they're different players. Now, if you'd have told me this was Wentz after his Super Bowl year where he took him there, got hurt, and then Foles took over. Well, the MVP of the league up until that point was Carson Wentz. I mean, he was having a great year. Right. And since then, Segs, whether it's his lack of love for football, whatever it is, somewhere along the line, his confidence went to the crapper, and he's been a backup ever since. I don't know if you get a better player. Now, as far as just a pure thrower with his experience, Carson Wentz should have more success because he's seen defenses, right? So it's just on pure experience. But I don't know what Carson Wentz I'm going to see, Segs. I want to root for him and say, man, you got a chance of rejuvenation process. But we said that when he was in Washington. We said it when he was in Indy. You said it at the end when he got the job back in Philly. You said Kansas City, even though they're going to play for most. Chance to, now he's becoming the guy who's going to play for 8 teams. And I don't know because he's big and he's so gifted. And I'm going to leave this out, but I did talk to a guy who's coached him in the past. And I said, what's wrong? And he said, and on the NFL level, he's coached him. And he said, Sean, there's just something missing from love of the game. I think Carson Wentz, this is my words, may rather hunt than be a starting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that doesn't make him bad. It just makes it to the point. Now, maybe it's Kevin O'Connell recommitted. Not saying he doesn't prepare, but, football is a sport that you can't get by if your heart's not in it. You may get by for a week or 2, but you can't last, especially at that position. You got to make a lot of sacrifices to be good at quarterback in that league. Hell, you got to make a lot of sacrifices to be average in the league. So I don't know what to expect from Carson Wentz. I know he's a better athlete than people may think for his size.
Yeah.
But because they ran RPO with him when he was in Philly, but there's something missing with the consistency, accuracy, and the layering, and I think he's a fastball guy all the time. Saig's got one pitch.
Yeah.
And I want to see how that pitch comes. O'Connell's had pretty good success with quarterbacks and giving him, what he did with Darnold, and let's see if he can do it with Wentz. But these are going to be precious games, man. Right. They are. So I would hope Carson Wentz, but the play calling is going to have to be a little different. Even though they haven't relied a ton on McCarthy's legs, I think that you're probably going to – you may see him push the ball down the field, at least attempt it a few more times.
Right.
The vertical passing game because of Wentz's experience. But I got to see Wentz sustain 8, 9, 10. Like I said, we haven't seen it. It's been years since we've seen Carson Wentz do his thing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch that game from both perspectives. How does Zach Taylor deal with Jake Browning? How does Kevin O'Connell deal with Carson Wentz? All right, wrap it up here. Tom Brady, we've talked about him. Should he be a broadcaster? Should he be an owner? Can he be both? No. But he's going to play football again. I don't know if you saw this, Sean. He will be playing football March 1st, 2026 in Saudi Arabia. Fanatics and Fox have announced a big deal to hold a flag football classic in Saudi Arabia early next year, where Tom Brady will play. He announced that last night, that he is part of the bigger process of it as well. But you'll have stars like Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, CeeDee Lamb, Sauce Gardner, Tyreek Hill, Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett. I don't know that I really need them on a flag football field to kill somebody, but they will be a part of this, and as well as will other entertainers. Kevin Hart's going to host it. You just know when you come to that Saudi money, it's different. It's different than even we think here. Like,
what my favorite thing? Yeah, go
Elon
ahead.
being the richest man in the world. No, those Saudi princes and those Saudi guys have more money than we can even imagine.
Well, they got more money than all the Walmart family combined, dude. So I mean, even Musk and Bezos may have to take a backseat to some of that coin that's over there, dude. I'm just telling you.
I guarantee,
because that's an endless well of coin.
Brother. There is trillionaires. I think.
There's no question. And if they're not claiming that they're a trillionaire, it's sitting in some place somewhere where there's no.
I mean, these guys just walk in and buy 40 Lamborghinis just because. Like,
that's tip money,
right? It's
that
insane.
Oil gas, brother. That oil gas money. There's a lot of coin. Well, let me just explain to you.
Maybe we should be doing a podcast. Let's move to Saudi Arabia.
I've told my buddies that are involved in the Live Tour, I said, if they ever want to run a football broadcast or something, I can be bought. Okay. I'm not going over there because I support the way they treat somebody treats women, or I'm going there just strictly to cover football or broadcast or golf. I'm in, and I'll take all the money they got, whatever they want to do.
They got plenty. 500 million just because.
Right. Just to be, show up.
Yeah, just to be nice.
So that's where I'm headed with this. I assure you of this. Now, I don't have any guarantees. I haven't talked to any king in Saudi or any of the guys that are going. One is owners here are probably like, I don't want Myles Garrett running around. But the other side of it is they've probably, put it this way, there's a way they're trying to get Saudi money into the NFL. So I love it when it's all, you can criticize somebody for taking Saudi money, but when it's the big picture like gambling, you get to go there. You have no problem taking it. So that's that. But I can promise you this. Say what you want. Now, while it may not be what Tiger Woods was offered to join Liv or Rory McIlroy, or Phil Mickelson, or for that matter, John Rahm's $500 million. But Brady, those names you just read are not showing up for a free appearance fee. So whatever the appearance fee is that is in your mind, I would probably double or triple it, because I'm going to try to see if I can finagle my way into being somebody's caddy on an off day. Can I get paid $250,000 just to go over there, and I'll do an X's and O's session with matter of fact, Sigs, we'll take the podcast on the road. We'll go spend 6 months teaching football to Saudi Arabia so we can expand what their football is compared to what U.S. football is, and teach X's and O's and start a league. You know what? I'm only asking $10 million for 6 months, and we'll teach them. We'll walk them through the mechanics of coverage. Smart. They got money to back a league. I'm sure we can build a stadium in like 4 months over there. Good to go. good to go. And I'm all in all the time. And direct deposit works with their money too. So absolutely. But I assure you, they're not going over there for it's a leisure trip, and it's to sell football gloves. Segs, we remember the first trip we sent people over there in London. Look what that's starting to do. And we sent them to Brazil, and we sent them to Germany, and now we send them to Saudi because we know where the money trail leads, and a lot of it's there. So I would too. You think Brady's going there for anything less than 7 figures, dude?
No.
That's just my guess. I have no idea.
Hey,
my guess would be he's getting paid. I would just say, hey, man, why don't you just give me 10% of that area over there that you're pulling all that oil and gas.
Right.
Just give me that, and I'll come here every year, 4 times a year, fly me first class, stick me in that 9-star hotel at the top, and we'll be good to go. They ain't going for free. Okay.
CeeDee Lamb, I just looked it up. $34 million is his salary this year. He's getting at least 30% of his every year salary for this.
Why would you go and risk injury? Why would you go? I saw a beach game ruin a running back's career from New England who played at Georgia. As you saw, remember rookie?
Yes.
Beach football in Hawaii. I was at the Pro Bowl. I was there. So now, no. We're not talking about old stars. Like, we're not sitting old guys that haven't played in 10 years. We're sitting guys, dudes now. They're getting paid, and I wouldn't expect it. And the truth is, it won't make a dent in anything. And this also ought to tell you something, Sakes. This ain't the last time. At some point in time, mark my words, an NFL game will be played at a soccer facility in Saudi, or they'll just build one for football, and they'll know that you're coming in 2027, and they'll say, give us a year and a half, we'll have this thing up. And I assure you another thing, it will be the greatest state-of-the-art stadium that's ever been made. Because, matter of fact, you'll be peeing in gold-plated latrines. So that's it. They ain't going over there for free. And there is a bigger picture to this. It's called, we want some of that. We want this global thing to even extend there because the cash is too much.
Oh, I mean, imagine you say, like, if they built a stadium like that let's say they build it within the next 3 years because they're pushing to get a game season over there. We will have a Super Bowl in Saudi Arabia in the next 20 to 25 years if they build that stadium.
Well, because what they do, they'd say, even though you don't have a team here, you guys have been coming here a couple times a year. What they would say is, we'll write you a $2 billion check or a $3 billion check to hold the Super Bowl over and above what we'd split with you at the Super Bowl from all the stuff, the merch or whatever it is you're doing. This is just basically a signing bonus to say you're going to bring it here. Yeah. They got the kind of money. And I know we think we're kidding, but that's the kind of money. Then they go, and guess what the NFL would say? Oh, that signing bonus with a B word behind it? Oh, we're in. Yeah. We are absolutely in.
There's already whispers of Super Bowls being put on pay-per-view so they can gain more money. And then there's already talks of Super Bowl in Germany or London or Paris or Mexico City. I mean, I think
if you want to expand a team, you know how quickly the money comes, Sigs? Even if you didn't want to expand it to Saudi, if you were doing it in London or if you're doing it somewhere else, guess where an owner would like say, oh, I'd start a franchise. He's going to come from Saudi Arabia because they got too much money. Okay. And so they know everything that's going on when it comes to American sports. Hence why they raided the PGA Tour with a lot of money and got them to go there. And you know what? If they thought they raided the LIV Tour, PGA Tour for LIV players to come over there, imagine what they do if they thought they could get a Super Bowl or play more football in Saudi Arabia just for the optics alone.
So, and what you just said, why I started chuckling, is something I just saw right before the show. And I was going to look more into it and maybe talk about it tomorrow, but I'll bring it up now just as a close out the show type thing. I saw a tweet from an NBA account. I can't remember the exact account it was, but it was per Brian Windhorst, who we know is an ESPN insider and everything. And that there is talk about LeBron James and is this going to be his last year playing basketball in the NBA? And Brian basically said, I'm paraphrasing here, yeah, it might be LeBron's last year, but there's talk floating around the NBA circles of LeBron going somewhere else and playing, going to a different league and playing. Now that's got to be overseas. Nothing has started here that,
for remember, what though?
And who knows? And that's why it popped in my head when you were talking about Saudi money, throwing them money around. If they want some sort of basketball league, they could come in and steal some big names just to pay them insane amount of money for one season.
You know what? What's crazy about that with what you say? It's such a good point. You're at the stage. LeBron has nothing more to. I mean, another championship, but we know his legacy is cemented, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, at the tail end of your career, even though I can't fathom that he needs more money, but you know what? Tell that to somebody. Everybody wants more money.
Yeah,
everybody does. When people say, "Well, what's the difference between 1 million and 3 million, 2 million? What's the difference between having 4 billion and 8 billion? 4 billion." So, can you see? And to answer your question, Boondog 1965 would ever see Brady as commissioner? I don't know if you'd see Brady as commissioner in the NFL, but I could see him going over there, getting involved in ownership, or somehow bringing the league or a team to Saudi. I can, like Jerry Jones is involved in Cowboys, but you know he's got his in the TV stuff. Hell yeah, I can. Just like you can see LeBron, as you mentioned. But Segs, just for fun, think about this, and we'll end. Somebody comes at him and says, "Hey, man, you and bring 10 of your buddies and pay like we'll give you we'll give you $850 million to come and start we're starting a league here. We'd like you to be the ambassador, but also the first person we sign." Well, some of his buddies are coming for that money, especially ones that are still name value, but at the end of their career.
Yeah.
At the end of their career. Why? Because at the end of their career, it's like, man, one more big payday or more big paydays.
Right.
Yeah, there is some thought process on that. Now, LeBron would catch a lot of heat, dude, and you and I both know it. Is he willing? Does the headache of the money that you're going to get outweigh the screw them? They'd all do the same thing if it was them, attitude, or the people that go on social media. Screw the people that don't like LeBron James ain't going to like him any more or less if he goes to Saudi Arabia, if that were to happen. And they're not going to, if they love him, they're not going to hate him because he goes there. Now, some may say, you know what? Why would you need to do this? There's a legacy. Well, why do it? And then you say, well, there's a billion reasons why I'm doing it. He's a businessman. Maybe. The money, listen, when people say I wouldn't do it for the money. Well, we're paying our Ryder Cup team to go, and the Europeans aren't.
Yeah.
The Europeans do not pay their Ryder Cup team. We are paying our Ryder Cup $500,000 a guy to go play. That come here, there. They offer it. The rules say take it. Okay, I get it. Right. But there's something to be said about that. So for $1 billion payday sakes, with that, why wouldn't you see it happen? Money talks, and no matter what anybody says, it doesn't walk. It walks right to the bank. That's where it goes.
Well, and let's remember too, LeBron, what does he want to do? He wants to own an NBA franchise. Getting $1 billion
next step for the Mannings and
years. Yeah, you go over there and you do it. You get an extra, or like you said, you can never have enough money. So you've got 5 generations taken care of. Well, here's another 5 that they're just willing to offer you. And, we don't know any details, but if he's going to do this, it's going to be for massive amounts of money, just like the Live Tour did for.
Well, guys go to Japan to play baseball from here. Guys go to Canada to play football. Guys go to Japan and play baseball. What's stopping Saudi Arabia from saying, you know what? We imposed our will took some of the best players in the world from golf, the gentleman's sport. Why can't we? And I don't begrudge them at all. But why not go for it? And you know what? I know one thing about billionaires. Guess what they like?
More billions.
Making more billions. Yeah, and so do players. So whatever's enough is enough. I don't know, but like I say, well, Sean, would you do it? At this stage, like I said, you put a studio there and want us to do unpaved and there's a lot of unpaved road in Saudi Arabia. You want us to go there and do it, and you're going to pay me quadruple the amount of money times 5. That plane lands there too. Okay, and the money cashes as well. So I'm all in, and they'd probably send their own jet, so we could fly private too, Segs, or maybe they buy you a jet. Who the hell knows? But
they just give
all this stuff.
Who knows?
Signing bonus. That's what I'm begging for.
Here's 8 Lamborghinis for no reason.
Let's go, brother. Let's go.
It's insane. But yeah, so we got a lot of quarterback talk in today, and I think tomorrow maybe we'll start breaking down some games. Look ahead to Thursday night, and we'll find some fun stuff.
And I assure you, we'll have some laughs, but something will happen between now and tomorrow.
Yes,
that makes us laugh, makes us say, or makes us say, we got to report on somebody's injury. Real quick, a baseball note, Sigs. How serious is Jordan Alvarez is
Yes, I
in a
saw
walking
that.
in a walking boot
about that.
In a walking boot and on crutches today. Now, does that mean 2 days? We're down to 11 games. What 3, 6, 9? Down to 11 games left for the Astros, and they got Texas and Seattle, and they're a half game out of first place. So, and Jordan's a bopper, and they're not good enough to right now to hit very well without him. So, little sidebars that are happening in baseball as well as we head down the stretch and decide who the wild card and who the division. So that's a little thing going on here of what's going to happen with them.
Yeah, Houston already has to worry about CJ Stroud, and is this sophomore slump going to continue into a junior year slump? Now you got Jordan Alvarez hurt again, and this is a guy that's been hurt a lot. We know
missed 100 games already this year. Serge.
Yeah, when he's in the lineup, he's one of the best hitters in baseball, but he's not there enough. He hasn't been there enough in his time with the Astros. They're
not good enough right now. The way they swing, they're not good enough to sustain any long period of slugging without him in the lineup, because the collateral part gives Christian Walker more pitches. Sure, it does. He's like having 3 cats out there with his bat.
Yeah. So and that's something else we'll talk about as we head down the stretch in the baseball season. Get ready for the baseball playoffs. Who we think can win. What players need to step up in what situations, and including the teams, and
who's in trouble in college football too, Segs. You know what?
Yeah.
We'll see. After 2 weeks. Yeah. Well, I can name a second one too.
Okay. We'll talk about that tomorrow too. And we got Coach JB on tomorrow for the first about 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah, so JB will join us tomorrow. Normally on Mondays, but we moved it for him schedule-wise. Yes. He'll join us. So one thing you won't get from JB is an opinion.
Yeah, he'll just kind of, flounder around.
Sugarcoat it all, right?
Yes, yes. He'll be positive about everybody.
Yeah.
He'll tell you how great every quarterback is. And,
and we'll bring up Caleb Williams and we'll just turn it over to him for 25 minutes and he'll let it rip. So we'll get after it tomorrow. Great stuff today, brother.
Yep. All right. Thanks to Triple E. Thanks to Laura. Thanks to you, Sean. We will be back tomorrow at noon Central, 1 Eastern. We'll continue to talk football. We'll talk baseball. We'll have Coach JB. And I don't know. We'll probably talk about Tom Brady leaving his broadcasting job. All right. That'll do it for us, guys. Talk to you later.